Okay, so now that we've gotten to it, what I'm going to show you today is looking at how to talk to the text. Now, talk to the text often is done silently at home or in the classroom, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to basically integrate think aloud as well because I want to show you my process so that you better understand how to annotate and what's going on for how I'm deciding what I'm going to annotate as well. So here we go. And also, just for a reminder, I'm doing this somewhat as if I'm a student, so I'm not familiar with all the terms that I otherwise would be for your purpose. Okay, so the first thing I see is I'm reading the title, Pandora's Box, and I'm going to circle that. I don't know who Pandora is, so I'm going to write who is Pandora. Obviously, I'm assuming that Pandora is a person based on it sounds like a name, and that this is probably key then to the actual story. So let's get started. For the gods keep hidden from men the means of life. That seems like important to me with the start, often the start, anyways. But then, of course, the question that pops up right in my head off the beginning is what is the means of life, right? They don't say it first. All we know is that the gods are keeping it hidden. Else you would easily do work enough in a day to supply you for a full year, even without working. Soon would you put away your rudder over the smoke, and the fields worked by ox and sturdy mule would run to waste. So what I know here is this explains why the gods are keeping the means of life hidden, because they're basically saying that people would become lazy. So we know, well, we don't know exactly, I don't know, what the means of life is yet. I know why now that the gods have kept it hidden. But Zeus, in the anger of his heart, hid it, because Prometheus, and I know Zeus, okay, so I know that he's the king of the gods. I know that from the Greek mythology. So he's in charge. Because Prometheus, there's another name I don't know, so I'm just going to put a question mark. Who's Prometheus? The crafty deceived him. Therefore, he planned sorrow and mischief against men. So we know the consequence. This is, if we're putting here, okay, so this is the consequence. He hid fire. Oh, so there we go. There is the means of life. And the whole aspect of this, if we do fire here and moving up, we know now what they've hidden and why, and what Prometheus has taken. If we skip down here, afterwards Zeus, who gathers his clouds, said to him in anger, son of Hephaestus, hard to pronounce. Again, don't know who that is. Surpassing all in cunning, you are glad that you have outwitted me and stolen fire. Oh, okay. So this must be another name for Prometheus, because it's the same talking about him and that he stole fire, and up here we have that Prometheus stole fire. A great plague to you, yourself, and to men that shall be. But I will give men as the price for fire an evil thing, which may be glad of heart while they embrace their own destruction. All right, so you see that Zeus has planned a plague, and more specifically, that men will gladly accept it. So said the father of men and gods, and laughed aloud. And he bade. So certainly, thinking about this gives you some of Zeus's character. He's certainly enjoying in the retribution, if you will. And he bade famous Hephaestus, Again, not sure who that is. Make haste and mix earth with water, and to put it in the voice and strength of humankind, and fashion a sweet, lovely maiden shape, like the immortal goddess in face. Okay, so Hephaestus sounds like he's creating a woman. Maybe this is Pandora? Put a question mark since I'm not sure yet, but that might be who it is since we haven't gotten to Pandora yet. But now that we're in this and they're creating this woman. And Athena, I know Athena, a god. And I'm skipping and I'll come back. I noticed also Aphrodite. So, and Hermes, look, there's a tons of gods here being involved. Athena to teach her needlework and the weaving of the varied web and golden. Aphrodite to shed grace upon her head and cruel longing and cares that weary the limbs. And he charged Hermes, the guide, the slayer of Argus, to put in her a shameless mind and a deceitful nature. So what I'm noticing here is there is a lot of description going on about this person who I think is Pandora being described, which tells me that maybe I should be making a list of these different characteristics because they might be important. So if we go through and look at the various characteristics, one of the first ones we have is a sweet, lovely maiden shape. And then needlework. And Aphrodite, grace. These are all positive things I'm noticing. We could put over here positive. But the next thing I notice is cruel longing and cares that weary the limb. Those are negative things, so that's interesting. Maybe I'll separate that and we'll put them over here on this other side with negative, because it's interesting that there's two different components here of positive and negative. So we have cruel longings and cares that worry the limbs, or that weary the limbs. And again, more negative here, right? A shameless mind and deceitful nature. So there's my list so far of positive and negatives of this creation. And they obeyed the Lord Zeus, the son of Kronos, forthwith the famous lame god. Oh, this, I know this reminds me with all of these other gods that Hephaestus is also a god, and that he was the one lame god. So that triggered that memory of that. Molded clay in the likeness of the modest maid. And the goddess bright-eyed Athena girded and clothed her, and the divine graces and queenly persuasion put necklaces of gold upon her. We could put that as another description. That's positive. Necklaces of gold. Maybe of wealth. Would be what that is. Pallas Athena bedecked her with forms of all manners of finery. And also the guide, the slayer of Argus, contrived within her lies and crafty words. So that's back over here in the negative. Lies, crafty words. And then and put speech. I was right. And as he called this woman Pandora. So here are the characteristics. I know that both of these, the negative and positive, are the characteristics of Pandora. But when he had finished the sheer hopeless snare, the Father sent glorious Argus Slayer, the swift messenger of the gods, to take it to Epithemius, again, hard to pronounce, don't know who that is, as a gift. And this guy, he did not think of what Prometheus said to him, bidding him never take a gift of Olympian Zeus, but send it back for fear that it might prove to be something harmful to men. So this guy is probably a man, not a god. And this line tells me here, I remember from the start, he's talking about that he was going to give them, a gift or something that they would gladly accept. So this suggests to me that Pandora is the plague that men would happily take. Because that is mentioned up earlier in the process. For ere this tribe of men lived on earth remote and free of ills and hard toil and heavy sickness, which brings the fate upon men. So this sounds somewhat like a utopia. No sickness. No, not hard toil. Easy and good life. Before Pandora. Before giving. But the woman, I'm going to assume that that is Pandora, took off the lid of the great jar. That says Pandora's box, but is this the box? Because I haven't heard anything else with a box yet, but if she was having this in a jar, maybe that's a box. With her hands and scattered all these, and her thoughts caused sorrow and mischief to men. Oh, so there is the plague that Zeus promised. Only hope remained there in an unbreakable home. So, why hope? Meaning is what I'm wondering with this. Is what's the significance that hope didn't escape? But the rest, countless plagues, wander amongst men, for earth is full of evils, and the sea is full of themselves. Diseases come upon men continually by day and by night, bringing mischief to mortals silently, for wise Zeus took away speech from them. So here we see the consequence of Pandora, and specifically Zeus's gift. And this is meant to be the punishment, because he mentioned that he was going to punish them. So no more utopia. So there is no way to escape the will of Zeus. This sounds like and this is the moral of the story. Although I would think that there's more, that it's the second moral of the story, because we seem to have a lot about Pandora, but certainly the end, wrapping it up, is that they tried to escape the will of Zeus, and even though they got the fire, in the end, all of these other things happened. So this is what I end up doing. This gives you an idea. There is a lot of content. On a regular basis, I might not do quite as much because I was trying to highlight and mark everything that I'm thinking. But the idea is of trying to show you what's going on in the process as I do so. So this would be the idea of talking to the text, and what I hope for you to replicate in class when you are looking at a text, especially for the first time.